Good evening. It's Sunday night, January 14th, time for the HideNet Week in Review. I'm Managing Editor Vera Dordick, sitting in for Don Osmond this week, who's off somewhere coughing and sneezing. So we'll start our market report this week with Latin America. Ronald Guiel from Brazil tells us that the Brazilian market is off to a slow start at the beginning of the year, but nonetheless, TR1 did rise 5 cents this week. And even at this slightly appreciated price, the Brazilian material is giving stiff competition to some other global selections in Europe and Asia, such as U.S. cows. He also notes that Brazilian hide exports last year were down in value, but up in volume. And shoe exports were up more than 9% and generated over $1.09 billion for the country's shoe manufacturers. The figures are better than they have been, and they're giving shoe manufacturers some hopes for 2018. Moving over to the U.S., steer prices were generally steady this week, with a few gains in selections like butts. Cows were an entirely different story, with some selections losing up to $3 due to that stiff competition from Brazilian material in Europe, particularly Italy. In this week's report, we also note China's purchases of U.S. hides were up in November by 23%. Compared to the previous month. And we have plenty of other statistics on Chinese purchasing, as well as a list of the top 25 tanneries importing from the U.S. In November. So you'll want to take a look at that. In Europe, Andre Guolo gives us a special report from PT Uomo, which is the big men's fashion fair, and that tells us that footwear and accessories were doing fairly well, and pretty well, actually. People were pleased, and it was helped by the return of the Russian and East European buyers to the market. Overall, the assessment of the fair was positive, and now he's off to Riva Shoe, which focuses on larger footwear retailers, and next week he will have a report on that. In between, he had time to find out and tell us that Irish ox and heifer prices, UK ox, let me try that again. UK and Irish ox and heifer prices are aligned with the US now because of the dollar's decline. Cows are still suffering, particularly smaller sizes, everywhere in Europe, but particularly in Italy. Some European selections are down 10 cents because Italian tanners have far more interest in buying the cheaper Brazilian materials. With regard to prices overall, Andrea says there's probably not going to be much change because everyone's waiting for Lineapel, which takes place in mid-February, and then after that, not long after that, the Chinese will be coming back from their lunar holidays, and so the market will be starting back up then. So he'll have more for us at that point on Lineapel as well. So that is the report for this week, and thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye.